New details tonight on an arrest in New York City. This after a young woman was killed last month inside her apartment in Tamarack. The Broward Sheriff's Office announced that the suspect, Sakina Thompson, is now in custody.
Over 2 hours of testifying in her own defense, Sakina Thompson told jurors she was jealous of the relationship her boyfriend had with the victim, Kayla Hodgson.
A little, I guess you could say, jealous and insecure.
Thompson admitted to flying from New York to Tamarack in July of 2022, in part to confront Hodgson about the relationship, hoping to convince the other woman to stop. This video shows Thompson showing up unexpectedly at Hodgson's Tamarack apartment at 4 o'clock in the morning. When Hodgson let her in, Thompson says a conversation about their love triangle quickly turned sour. Thompson says Hodgson hit her over the head with a hookah.
She just starts grabbing my hair and punching me, and I'm on the floor. I'm kicking. I'm trying to get up to fight back at this point because now it's a fight.
Thompson was 2 months pregnant at the time. She told the jury she had no choice but to grab something sharp and defend herself. Thompson testified that when she thought Hodgson was dead, she tried to clean up parts of the crime scene with Lysol wipes and paper towels.
We talk about walking away from toxic situations, right? Well, this is what happens when you don't. A nail tech from New York, a flight attendant from Florida, both dating the same man, and one of them didn't make it out alive. You already know where you at. This is Shadowed Crimes TV. You know what we do. Let's get on it. We already covered this case 2 months ago. This is the latest on the case, and if you haven't seen the previous video, I'll drop the link in the comments for you to check it out. This case takes us down to Florida, where 23-year-old Kayla Hodgson lost her life in the most senseless way possible. Kayla wasn't out here bothering nobody. She was living her life working as a flight attendant, bartending on the side, just taking things easy. That's the type of person she was. Low-key minded her business, stayed in her lane. Then she met Terry, and girl, let me tell you, Terry came into her life talking all that sweet talk, professing his love, doing all the things men do when they're trying to lock you down. So naturally, Kayla started dating him. They were kicking it, everything seemed cool. But here's what Kayla didn't know. Niece, her boyfriend, was somebody else's boyfriend too. Now, on the other side of this mess, we got 28-year-old Sakina Thompson. Sakina was a nail tech out of New York, and she wasn't like Kayla at all. Where Kayla was private and low-key, Sakina was loud and proud about everything. She had her own business, she was making decent money, and she loved showing it off.
Good morning, y'all. Started off the day with some clients. She had on the set for a month. This was her birthday set, some chrome heart nails. I recorded this acetone because it looked really cool with my pigment. It's my other client. She just got nails again for the first time in a month or two.
Social media was her stage, and she performed daily. Sakina stayed posting about herself, her life, her business, her relationship with Terry. She was always on social media, always letting people know she was that girl. And Terry, he was right there with her in all those posts. The two of them were constantly online together, making sure everybody could see they were a couple. Sakina wasn't just posting random content either. She was strategic with it, posting herself getting gifts from Terry, posting them at parties, posting them doing everything together. In her mind, she was sending a message, letting anyone who might be looking know that she was the main girlfriend. She was his woman, period. But despite all that posting, despite all those pictures and videos, Sakina still wasn't satisfied, because somewhere deep down she knew something wasn't adding up. And when she finally found out about Kayla, oh, it was over. So here's where everything goes left. Sakina found out she was 2 months pregnant by Terry. 2 months, and around that same time, she discovered that Terry had been dating Kayla this whole time. Now, most people would have walked away right there. Most people would have packed their bags, blocked the number, and moved on with their life. But Sakina? Nah, Sakina decided she was gonna handle this situation her way. Even though Kayla was all the way down in Florida minding her business, Sakina made up her mind. She was 2 months pregnant carrying this man's child, and she decided that Kayla needed to be dealt with. She wasn't about to let this slide. Moving on wasn't an option for her, so she made a choice that would destroy multiple lives, including her own. August 3rd, 2022. That's the day Sakina bought a plane ticket from New York to Florida. Think about that for a second. She got on a whole flight, traveled to another state, all to confront a woman about a man who clearly wasn't loyal to either one of them. Make it make sense. She touched down in Florida and tracked Kayla down to her apartment in the Springfield Gardens neighborhood of Tamarack. Now, Sakina would later claim that she just wanted to talk. She'd say she was trying to have a woman-to-woman conversation, trying to convince Kayla to stop seeing Terry. But that story, that's not what happened. What actually went down was brutal. Sakina got into Kayla's apartment, and once she was inside, she went off. There was no conversation, there was no talking things out. Sakina attacked Kayla with a viciousness that's hard to even describe. She stabbed that young woman multiple times with sharp objects. Multiple times. This wasn't a fight that got out of hand. This wasn't self-defense. This was an attack. And when it was over, when Kayla lay dead in her own apartment, Sakina tried to clean up the scene. She grabbed Lysol wipes, paper towels, whatever she could find, and tried to erase what she'd done. But here's the thing. You can't clean up a murder scene that easily. Blood was everywhere. Sakina's own clothes were soaked in Kayla's blood. So you know what she did? She put on Kayla's clothes. Let that sink in. She took the clothes off the woman she just murdered and put them on her own body so she could leave without drawing attention to herself. Then she walked out of that apartment like nothing happened.
This is a very important update for the community of Tamarack. In the news of a brutal murder that happened right behind me in this apartment complex, the murder of Kayla Hodgson. Now, she has been identified by friends and family as Kayla Hodgson on social media, so here's a picture of her. With new details released, 28-year-old Sakina Thompson, age 28, from Springfield, New York, was arrested by New York police officers. She's expected to be extradited to Broward County to face one count of first-degree murder. This young woman that was tragically taken away from friends and family on July the 13th, approximately around 3 p.m. Wednesday. This was a major crime scene that erupted after the Broward County Sheriff's Department responded to this apartment unit, and they pronounced Kayla deceased. Later, understanding that she was stabbed to death, the Broward Sheriff's Office says that Sakina Thompson demonstrated a depraved mind without regard for human life by stabbing with a sharp object, which she intended to cause death to Kayla Hodgson. There's many details, there's much more information to be learned on why Kayla was murdered in this quiet area of Tamarack that left lots of family and friends shocked and just absolutely in disbelief. No one can just imagine why this would even happen. As soon as I receive more details on behalf of this murder, again, this is just an update so far, but as soon as I learn more, I'll have those details on my social media. Be sure to follow me at The Breaking News Reporter for that information.
It didn't take long for someone to find Kayla. When they discovered her body, they immediately called the police, and when law enforcement arrived at that scene, they were shaken by what they saw, the brutality of it. The violence, this young woman, just 23 years old, stabbed to death in her own home. The news hit the community hard. Local reporters started covering the story, and Kayla's family and friends were left trying to process something that made no sense. A family friend spoke to the media, and you could hear the pain in every word. Kayla was described as bright, beautiful, someone everyone looked up to. Her life had been snatched away too soon, and the people who loved her were drowning in grief. She was bright, she was beautiful, she was everybody's hype man. The friend said, that's who Kayla was. She uplifted people, she brought light into rooms, and now her family was planning a funeral instead of celebrating her life. The details that came out were chilling. On July 13th, that's when Kayla was found dead in her Tamarack apartment. Someone discovered her unresponsive that afternoon, and when paramedics arrived, they pronounced her dead at the scene. The radio calls from that day painted a grim picture. One caller mentioned seeing a gash on Kayla's body. It was clear from the jump that this was no accident. This was a homicide. But here's what was driving Kayla's loved ones crazy. They didn't know who did it yet. They didn't know why anyone would want to hurt her. The unknown was torture. As one person put it, the unknown is driving us crazy. We don't know who did this. We don't know why you would do this. Meanwhile, Sakina had already flown back to New York. She thought she'd gotten away with it. She went right back to her regular life, like she hadn't just taken someone's daughter, someone's friend, someone's whole future. But investigators weren't sleeping on this case. They were working it, piecing together evidence, tracking down leads, and it didn't take long for them to connect the dots back to Sakina Thompson. When authorities finally identified Sakina as the suspect, they moved fast.
New details tonight on an arrest in New York City. This after a young woman was killed last month inside her apartment in Tamarack. The Broward Sheriff's Office announced that the suspect, Sakina Thompson, is now in custody. CBS 4's Peter Dinch joins us live from the Tamarack Village complex with the very latest on this story. Peter.
Well, Naja, BSO says that the suspect was arrested in a neighborhood in Queens. That was 3 weeks after the homicide here. It's also where residents are relieved.
I feel terribly bad that happened to her.
Shayla Hernandez was horrified by the murder of her neighbor, identified by friends and family members as 23-year-old Kayla Hodgson, seen here and in photos in a post from loved ones on a fundraising website. BSO says they responded to Hodgson's second-floor apartment on July 13th after a 911 call about an unresponsive woman. They say they discovered that Hodgson died at the scene here at the Tamarack Village complex. On July 25th, a warrant was issued for 28-year-old Sakina Thompson. She was arrested on Wednesday in New York City.
Making an arrest makes me feel a lot more comfortable.
BSO is not saying what led them to their suspect, but an arrest affidavit says Sakina Thompson was demonstrating a depraved mind without regard for human life by stabbing with a sharp object with a premeditated intent to cause death.
I am very happy to hear about it because we were scared. We heard different stories from different people, and I happen to live on the floor above her, so I'm very happy. It makes me feel a lot better and more secure that they finally arrested somebody.
BSO has not said what the motive was. It's not clear when Thompson will be extradited. Right now, she is charged with first-degree murder. We are live in Tamarack. Peter Dinch, CBS 4 News.
She was being charged with first-degree murder, and she'd be extradited back to Broward County, Florida to face those charges. The Broward Sheriff's Office didn't hold back in their statement. They said Sakina demonstrated a depraved mind without regard for human life, that she stabbed Kayla with a sharp object with the clear intention of causing her death. This wasn't a crime of passion that got out of hand. This was deliberate. This was intentional. This was murder. And here's the kicker. Sakina was still pregnant when they arrested her. 2 months pregnant when she committed the crime and still carrying that baby when they put her in handcuffs. She ended up writing a letter to the judge trying to get some mercy from the court. In that letter, she talked about being pregnant, about wanting to give birth outside of jail, about wanting the opportunity to be a mother to her newborn while she fought her case. She asked the judge to consider releasing her on bond or putting her on pre-trial monitoring. She signed it off all respectful, hoping the court would see things her way, but the judge wasn't having it. Her request got denied. She was remanded to jail to await trial, pregnant and all. Because at the end of the day, Kayla's family was planning a funeral while Sakina was asking for special treatment. That's not how justice works. When it came time for trial, Sakina decided to testify in her own defense. And let me tell you something, she got up on that stand and told a whole different story than what the evidence showed. She spent over 2 hours testifying, and during that time she admitted some things while trying to justify others. She told the jury she was jealous of the relationship Terry had with Kayla. When the prosecutor asked her about it, she said, "A little, I guess you could say, jealous and like insecure." So she's admitting right there that jealousy played a role in all of this. Sakina confirmed that she flew from New York to Tamarack in July 2022, but according to her, she just wanted to talk. She claimed she went there hoping to convince Kayla to stop seeing Terry. That's the story she was sticking to. Just a woman-to-woman conversation, nothing more. But here's what the evidence showed. Surveillance video caught Sakina showing up at Kayla's apartment at 4 o'clock in the morning. 4 in the morning. Who shows up at someone's door at that hour just to have a casual conversation? That alone should tell you what type of energy she was on. According to Sakina's version of events, when Kayla let her inside, they started talking about the love triangle, but she claimed the conversation turned sour real quick. She told the jury that Kayla attacked her first. Kayla hit her over the head with a hookah, started grabbing her hair, punching her, and that she ended up on the floor fighting back.
She just starts grabbing my hair and punching me, and I'm on the floor. I'm kicking. I'm trying to get up to fight back at this point because now it's a fight.
She reminded everyone that she was 2 months pregnant at the time, trying to paint herself as the victim. She said she had no choice but to grab something sharp and defend herself. She claimed that when she realized Kayla was dead, she panicked and tried to clean parts of the crime scene with Lysol wipes and paper towels. But the prosecutor wasn't buying it, not even a little bit. During cross-examination, they grilled her about every single detail. They asked her about the stabbing, about why she killed Kayla. The prosecutor pointed out that Sakina went to Kayla's home uninvited. That right there changes everything. State prosecutors questioned Sakina Thompson about why she stabbed Kayla Hodgson to death inside of Hodgson's Tamarack home 3 years ago. The prosecutor pressed her, "This is why you killed her, right?" Sakina said no. She kept saying no. She insisted she didn't kill Kayla just because they were fighting. According to her testimony, she killed Kayla because she took the glass from the hookah and slashed me across my stomach. Sakina claimed that Kayla cut her stomach with a piece of glass, and that's when everything went black. She said she grabbed the glass and blacked out, and when she came to, Kayla was dead on the floor. But here's the problem with that story. The autopsy photos told a completely different tale. The images shown in court were gruesome. Kayla had been stabbed dozens of times. Dozens. That's not someone defending themselves and blacking out. That's rage. That's intent. The prosecutor kept pushing, pointing out all the things Sakina did after the killing. She walked through the blood, literally walked in Kayla's blood with her shoes on. Then she changed into Kayla's shoes. She changed into Kayla's clothes because her own outfit was soaked with blood. I wasn't really walking over the blood. I was walking in the blood. Sakina admitted on the stand. You walked in the blood? Yes. With what shoes? The prosecutor asked. The BB shoes. I changed my shoes, Sakina responded. She admitted to throwing away evidence too. Her jacket had been cut up during the struggle, so she tossed it in the trash. She cleaned up parts of the crime scene. And then and this is important, she was too scared to call the police. According to her, she panicked because she didn't think anyone would believe her story. The state also brought up Sakina's behavior in the months leading up to the murder. They revealed that she tried reaching out to Kayla on Instagram before all this happened. Kayla had blocked her, and that made Sakina angry. Real angry. You wrote her on IG, and she in fact ignored your message initially. Correct? The prosecutor asked. Correct? Sakina admitted, and that made you angry. Correct? So now we're seeing the full picture. Sakina was upset about being blocked on social media. She was jealous and insecure about Terry's relationship with Kayla. She flew to another state, showed up uninvited at 4 in the morning, and a young woman ended up stabbed dozens of times. The prosecutor laid it out plain. Kayla's body will not only tell you the details of her brutal attack, but her body will tell you whose. Because there was something Sakina couldn't clean up and couldn't take with her. Kayla's DNA, specifically Sakina's DNA, was found under one of Kayla's fingernails. That means Kayla fought back. She was trying to defend herself against her attacker. The defense tried their best. They argued that Sakina was scared to call police because she didn't think they'd believe her, that she panicked, that she didn't go there planning any of this. She just wanted to have a conversation about where their relationships with Terry stood. But the evidence wasn't on Sakina's side. The brutality of the attack, the DNA under Kayla's nails, the cover-up, the flight back to New York, all of it pointed to one thing: police murder. The trial lasted several days, and throughout it all, Sakina faced the possibility of the death penalty if she was found guilty. That's how serious this case was. When the jury came back with their decision, there was no surprise. Sakina Thompson was found guilty. Guilty of first-degree murder. The verdict came down, and Kayla's family finally had some sense of justice. Not closure, because how do you get closure when your loved one is gone forever? But at least they had a verdict. At least the person responsible would be held accountable. Kayla's family was relieved. You could see it on their faces. They'd been waiting for this moment, hoping the jury would see through Sakina's story and recognize it for what it was, and they did. Now, here's the part that really makes you sit back and think about how senseless all of this was. After everything, after Sakina threw her whole life away, after she took Kayla's life, after she sat in jail pregnant and went through trial facing the death penalty, where is Terry in all this? According to reports, Terry is out here living his best life. He's moved on, he's with other women, he barely even thinks about Sakina anymore. Let me say that again. The man that 2 women were fighting over, the man that Sakina committed murder over, is out here like none of this ever happened. He's not in jail. He's not suffering. He's just living. Sakina had her own business going. She was a nail tech making decent money. She had a whole baby on the way. She had her whole life ahead of her, and she threw it all away. For what? For a man who's already forgotten about her. And that's the part that should make every woman watching this stop and think, because this could have been avoided. All of this pain, all of this destruction, all of this loss, it didn't have to happen. Sakina could have walked away. She could have blocked Terry, focused on her pregnancy, kept building her business, and moved on with her life. But instead, she made a choice that cost Kayla everything and cost herself everything too. This is why we talk about being man-centered. This is why we talk about knowing when to walk away. Because no man, and I mean no man, is worth this. Not a single one. Terry wasn't special. Terry wasn't loyal. Terry was playing both of these women, and when everything fell apart, he walked away unscathed while 2 lives were destroyed. Kayla lost her life at just 23 years old. She had so much ahead of her career as a flight attendant, her bartending, her whole future, and it got snatched away because she happened to be dating a man who couldn't be honest with either woman he was involved with. Sakina lost her freedom, lost her child, lost everything she built, and for what? For a man who moved on before the trial even ended. Ladies, I'm saying this with all seriousness. Learn how to walk away. Learn how to recognize when a situation is toxic and remove yourself from it. There are other men out here. There are better situations waiting for you. No relationship, no man, no situation is worth taking someone's life over. And it definitely ain't worth throwing your own life away. This whole case is embarrassing when you really break it down. Two women fighting over a man who wasn't worth either one of their time. And now one woman is dead, another is in prison, and that man is somewhere living like none of this ever touched him. If you're in a situation right now where you're fighting over someone, where you're feeling that jealousy and rage building up, where you're thinking about doing something you can't take back, stop. Just stop. Walk away. Block the number. Delete the messages. Remove yourself from the situation, because I promise you, no man is worth your freedom. No man is worth someone else's life. And definitely no man is worth you ending up on the wrong side of a murder trial. Our deepest condolences go out to the friends and family of Kayla Hodgson. May her memory be a blessing to everyone who knew and loved her. May her life be remembered for the light she brought to this world, for being that bright, beautiful person who lifted others up. And may her death serve as a wake-up call, a reminder that we have to do better. We have to protect each other. We have to know when to walk away from toxic situations before they escalate to a point of no return. Domestic violence doesn't always look like what we think it does. Sometimes it looks like jealousy. Sometimes it looks like obsession. Sometimes it looks like someone who just can't let go. And we have to recognize those signs and get out before it's too late. Kayla deserves so much more than what happened to her. She deserved to live her life, to chase her dreams, to grow old and experience everything this world had to offer. Instead, her life was cut short because of someone else's inability to control their emotions and walk away from a bad situation. Stay safe out there. Pay attention to red flags. Value your own life enough to remove yourself from dangerous situations. And remember, no relationship is worth dying over, and no relationship is worth killing over. Rest in peace, Kayla Hodgson. Your story will not be forgotten. This is Shadowed Crimes TV. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We break down true crime cases daily, shining light on shadowed stories that deserve to be told. We'll see you in the next one.